you. You know I'm alive with you.
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Ferg here, back again with another Call of Duty Mobile video, and in today's video we're going to be talking about spawns inside of the mode Team Deathmatch. Of course, Team Deathmatch is a pretty common mode inside of the game. It's actually the most popular mode in Call of Duty ever. It's always been the most popular mode in Call of Duty, so I decided for us to talk about spawns for the first time ever, we're going to do it with Team Deathmatch. Some of the players that have maybe played Call of Duty in the past will already know the things that I'm going to be talking about here, but this is going to be for the players who have only really started playing Call of Duty with Call of Duty Mobile to really understand how spawns actually work and how you can flip spawns and where you should hold on maps. Obviously we'll be talking a little bit about No Man's Land. We'll be talking about different spawn points like spawn point 1, spawn point 2. No Man's Land, you can spawn point in there, or you can spawn in there as well. The reason I don't call it spawn point 2 is because I just like No Man's Land better, but I say spawn point 1 and spawn point 3, which are the two main spawn points for Team Deathmatch, and then No Man's Land is in the middle. The map that we're going to use is Crossfire for the example. I hope you guys understand it. I did go into game and try to explain it, so I showed you guys some gameplay, but it wasn't really that good. So what I did was I actually pulled up the map, and then there will be gameplay going on in the background while we look at the map together and I explain it for you guys a little bit better. It's just easier to explain that way while I am not playing, so that I can really give you guys an in-depth, detailed analysis of how spawns work inside of this map, this particular map. The maps are all very similar. As soon as you find where the No Man's Land is and where the spawn points actually are located, you'll be able to use this tactic and you'll be able to find out where your favorite spots are to hold different spawn points. But with that being said, make sure to enter my giveaway link down below, and I hope you find this information valuable. If you do, make sure to like the video, comment down below if you want me to do different maps. If you do, I'll do them on my highlights channel, which is just iFerg highlights, and we'll go through every single map in terms of like spawns and Team Deathmatch. I think for the next one I'll do Domination, because Domination is also another ranked game mode, which is great because ranked fits in with both public matches and of course the ranked game mode. But without any further ado, I hope you enjoy this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications if you do, and let's get into this. Alright, so I thought that there wouldn't be a better map to show spawns on Team Deathmatch than Crossfire, because it's very easy to understand. As you can see, the map is on the screen right now, and the arrows are the top side of the map. It's actually the bottom side of the map in game, but we'll refer to it as the top side of this map right here. So these spawns are really easy to understand because there is three main spawn points in Crossfire. You've got where I am right now. You see the little yellow arrow. This extends the whole way over till you see the teammate Buit Ridge. Oh, he just died. As you can see, oh, he just died as well. I was gonna say I'll just go over to it and show you guys where these spawns extend to. These spawns extend the whole way over to this little cafe over here. This is a whole spawn point. So for example, to understand how these spawns actually work on this side of the map, you will always spawn here if the enemy opposing team is spawning on top. Now Team Deathmatch, obviously, like I was saying, has three main spawn points: the top, the bottom, and the middle. The middle is No Man's Land. No Man's Land is a place where people spawn if there is teammates everywhere. Currently, my teammates are all down at the bottom side of the map, but the top side of the map in the game. So nobody should be spawning down with us. Everyone in their team shouldn't even be spawning in No Man's Land, because there's no reason for them to do that. They should all be spawning up here, up top. Nice, got one. Now that I've pushed further up, I'm now in their spawn area, which is a... Oh, you just seen that red dot on the map? That is in the spawn area from here. It goes the whole way down to the left of me, and then it goes right the way over to the furthest right from me as well. I'm gonna get my RPG out for this guy. No hits, really? All good. Nice. But as you can see, this spawn comes from here. This is the last place where they can spawn, over there, and then it extends the whole way down until the car's on that side of the map. Oh, I just choked.
Be careful!
I accidentally unscoped. There's another guy around here, I believe. But yeah, as you can see, we're currently making them spawn up on this side of the map right now because my teammates are spawning down in the lowest portion of the map. Spawning mechanics are really easy to understand for me. It's so hard for me to explain them to like the best of my ability because it's all just common sense to me. What you really need to focus on doing is concentrating on where your teammates are actually at, because once you know where your teammates are at, you'll better be able to understand where your enemies are going to spawn. See, they're still spawning up here because my teammates are still down lower. And I just died from behind. That's fine, but you can see right there, that whole team was just spawning up at the top of the map while we were spawning down here. Of course, the top of the map is different. My whole team have been holding down this area right here. As you can see, Average Joe and Buet, Scar Ghost, all of those guys in this public match have been holding this bottom lower end of the map, which is good because it means that very few people will spawn inside of No Man's Land, which is this big, massive middle portion on Crossfire, as you can see. But it's just like the middle of the map, basically, No Man's Land. It's over where like the B flag would be for domination, and then of course this area right here, this area would be No Man's Land, and up here would be No Man's Land as well, right here. The only reason that people would spawn in these middle areas would be if people are all over the map. Like if people are extended out and there's a person like I am doing right now extending into their spawn, trying to spawn kill them, then people would spawn in No Man's Land. But that's the only situation that could happen where people will like actually get spawned in No Man's Land. Every other time that you're going to see players spawning, they're going to be spawning in one of those two main areas, which was the bottom of the map or the top of the map, depending on how you look at it. That's a really confusing example to pick, I feel like, because the bottom of the map was actually the top of the map in the game. I don't know, it's just weird. Either way, I hope I explained that to the best of my ability. It feels weird trying to talk about it. I'll probably get a map on screen so that I can show you guys what I mean a little bit better right now, because it's hard to explain while I play, and then I'll just put some gameplay on in the background. Okay, so I now have the map up on the screen right now, and you guys will be able to see it too, along with some random gameplay going on in the background. It's not going to be at all related to the gameplay, but I am going to have the map up so that you can follow along with me and understand this a little bit easier, because it was pretty hard for me to explain to you guys while I was playing. But either way, look down at the bottom of the map that's currently on your screen. That's actually the top of the map in the game, but for this we're going to refer it to the bottom of the map, even though it is the top portion of the map inside of Crossfire. So looking down at the bottom of the map, you see that there is 4 buildings on that right hand side at the start. All 4 of those buildings are the bottom spawn. There's also 2 to 3 buildings on the left side. There's 2 main ones, and then there's one very far out in the corner of this bottom side of the map. That is also the same spawn area. So we'll call this spawn area number 1. Number 1 spawn area in Team Deathmatch is pretty easy to understand. For the majority of the time, people will spawn to the lower left side of this area, right below the left building, and they'll also spawn somewhere over to the lower right side. Now, the only reason that they would be taken out of these lower spawns from spawn point 1 would be if somebody had pushed through either the left side or the right side of these buildings to try and kill someone. Now, Team Deathmatch spawns are pretty sporadic, and what that means is that they flip and they split constantly, so people can spawn into No Man's Land all the time, but they will only get taken out of this spawn if one of your teammates or yourself pushes through this lower right hand side or the lower left hand side. You can actually keep them in a spawn trap here on Team Deathmatch from the left first building to the right first 3 buildings. I'm sorry, the building in the lower right you can't go into, but we still count it as a building because it appears as a building on the map. But these lower 3 buildings, it's 2 buildings in a garage which you can't go into. These 3, you can also spawn trap them from this second lower left house. This doesn't push the spawns out at all, so if you stay in this house you'll be able to shoot people from the lower left and the bottom 3 right. However, as soon as you leave that and go further down the street, they'll start to spawn out. Now, if you've pushed down this street to the very lower area of the map, or the lowest part of this spawn point 1, they will start to spawn out. They won't spawn directly into No Man's Land. Now, to understand where No Man's Land is is currently where the B flag would be, which, if you guys don't know, if you look at the map right now, you start at the lower right, you go up 1, 2, 3, 4 buildings. The building from the 4th building to the right, that's the B flag building in domination. The other building, which is right across from that, is like a cafe area. Those 2 places are main No Man's Land. I would also call the building to the left of the cafe another No Man's Land territory place, because sometimes people just randomly pop up there. It's not a spawn area, however, so I wouldn't say that it's with the spawn point 1. I would say it's in the No Man's Land area. But like I was saying, once you push the people out of that lower spawn point 1 area, which is the end of the street in the courtyard and in those right side houses and the first left side house, they will actually spawn spawn up the left side in the corner of spawn point 1. Now, that's the furthest they can spawn out in spawn point 1. If you have teammates who are also in that house in spawn point 1 at that left side of it, and you have players that are currently down in the courtyard area at the lowest part of spawn point 1, the spawns will actually flip. They'll flip instantly if you have players both at the left side and at the lower portion. And where they will flip to is what I would call spawn point 3, which will be the top of the map. As you can see, there's like a building behind it. We'll not include that building in this, but you can see there is the building to the right, and then the further over building, which is basically like a sniper building to the right as well. There's two buildings right there. The spawn point 3 area goes the whole way down until you see it reach the third building on the right, and it cuts off right there. So if you get a line on the screen and put it from the road right down to the lowest right side building on spawn point 1, it's basically just like a straight line. It's really easy to understand once you get that visual in your head. Spawn point 3 is obviously really close to that cafe, but as soon as you hit that cafe, you hit no man's land and people will be sniping there, so you probably don't want to go through that area. However, the way that you can predict spawns from here is actually looking from the B flag house like we were talking about earlier. This B flag house right here, it's basically a no man's land, also is a really good way to aim down the street of spawn point 3, and that's where the majority of players are going to come out. They're going to come out the street because they don't want to go through the cafe because it's a narrow doorway basically, and nobody wants to go through narrow doorways because you can get sniped and picked off really easily. It's like a one-way ticket to dying. However, if you're sitting here on the B flag like I do a lot in actually domination and also in team deathmatch, you'll have a good line of sight into the whole area of the spawn 3 spawn point other than the very right side house. Now, the only problem with that is that you can get killed from behind from right side house, but the chances of people actually spawning in the right side of spawn 3 is very low because you are closer to it than you are closer to the main spawn area of spawn point 3, which is obviously at the top of this current map that we're looking at. The only reason that people will spawn into spawn point 3 on the right side, which is that building, is if your teammates push through cafe and onto the road in the heart of spawn 3. That's the only reason that you will get killed from behind. So if you ever get killed from behind and you're sitting in that B flag house area, you can basically just blame your teammates for that one. I don't know what to tell you, Chief. Like, if you get killed from behind when you're doing this, you're probably gonna need to blame your teammates. Of course, this is gonna happen a lot. That's why you need to keep your awareness up. We'll keep track of map awareness in a separate video though, but this is just talking about team deathmatch spawns. So if you're running up no man's land, we'll look at it from cafe. Remember when I said cafe earlier? If you're trying to go through no man's land, the best way to do it on the map Crossfire is to go out of cafe and then go up the stairs into another no man's land house, which is like, I'm not sure, it has like a till and stuff in there. I don't know if you call it a till, but it's like a cashier area. You go out the back door of that, and then you go into the left sided spawn point for spawn point 1, which is that house, and then you move your way down into the middle left house, and that's the best way to start spawn trapping in there. And that's when you can really start predicting spawns, because they're all going to spawn where I told you. They're going to spawn directly in front of you in the courtyard, and they're also going to spawn around the right side area as well. If you have like a gun like an LMG or whatever, this will be really good for this part of the map, because obviously it's a little bit medium to long range, and LMGs are the best for that. And then of course we already talked about holding the B flag. Of course, if you don't like holding the B flag area and you feel like you get wall banged quite a lot when you're trying to run away from the bullets through the window that you're currently standing at, cafe is actually a good area as long as you have a trophy system, because what you can do is you can run through the cafe door, slide and then jump, pre-fire and get a couple kills. But you're gonna need a trophy system there, because if you don't have a trophy system, they're just gonna RPG you and kill you. That's why I don't like that spot, because if you run out of your trophy system defenses, which remember, you only have 2 trophy system defenses because you only have 1 trophy system, you're probably just gonna get SMRS'd, and that's not gonna be fun. That's why I actually like the B flag hold a lot better. Even though it's much more riskier from being shot from behind, the chances of them actually shooting you from behind there are pretty damn low, unless your teammates have overextended and ran down the road on that top side of the map that we're currently looking at. Now, if you have 2 people up on this side of the map, which is spawn point 1, and say one person's in the middle left house, and then you've got another person in the far right house, which is the 4th up from the right, you should be able to spawn trap them pretty easily, because you're not pushing the spawn enough where people will start spawning out and spawn into spawn point 3. You're basically holding a line. It's almost like they're squashed in there into a very tight spawn trap, which is really good for team deathmatch, because they're really hard to get tight spawn traps in team deathmatch, because team deathmatch is so prone to spawn flips. But if you only have 2 people in there, you'll definitely not split the spawns. Even a third will be fine. It just matters on whether your other teammates are in there also, because if you have your whole team in there, the spawns will flip straight away and the other team will just start spawning in spawn point 3. But like I said before, team deathmatch, it's really hard to spawn trap in, just because the likelihood of your whole team working together in order to keep them in one particular area is quite low, unless you're all on call with each other and you've all set up like a certain area that you're watching and covering, like maybe even holding the cars in the middle of the street and holding a little bit further back, having one person sit on the left side of spawn point 1 so that they don't spawn there either. Like, there's a lot of things that would go into it in order to keep them ready for any kind of like random spawns in spawn point 1. But for the most part, if you have 2 or 3 people in those houses, it will be really easy to control. Same thing goes for spawn point 3 when you're sitting in the cafe or the B flag house as well.